they'll break into anything.
Police say surveillance video captured the actions of 4 people who broke into a large Somerset church to steal several items.
It's the dog days of summer, and more people are spending time outside. But doctors around the region want to remind you of the potential dangers of spending too much time in the heat.
Bourbon is booming, and that's leading to some shortages.
The demand for bourbon is not going away.
How some Kentucky distilleries are racing to keep up with that demand.
This is WKYT News at 5:30.
Good evening to you. Anyone can fall victim to a crime, even a church. Tonight, police in Pulaski County are looking for 4 people accused of breaking into a Somerset church.
Police believe the crime happened earlier this month at First Baptist Church on Main Street. But tonight, we're getting a closer look at some surveillance of the crime. Phil Pendleton takes a closer look at the pictures in our top story at 5:30.
In the early morning hours around 3 or 4 a.m., police say 4 people targeted Somerset's First Baptist Church downtown on Main Street to break in.
Most of the criminals we have, they don't really care if it's a church or an abandoned building. They'll break into anything.
Thieves forced their way into a side window and went throughout the church, taking a number of small items. Police say many of their actions were captured on tape.
We know who they are. We're working on some investigations right now, doing some interviews. Some of that should be released later.
And police say while they do know who these subjects are, they say they are not ready to release the names of them at this time. Police say they're not sure of the value of the items taken, but they suspect the motive.
A lot of times it goes back to an addiction, drug use, thefts related to burglaries, or any type of thefts usually go back to drug use in the area.
Police say once they put the photos on social media, they received a number of tips of who the subjects are. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Police say there was not any damage done to the church itself other than the window being forced open.
A phone scam involving callers claiming to be collecting money for families of fallen officers is making its way around southern Kentucky. Our county-by-county coverage at 5:30 begins in Pulaski County. The caller says they are with the American Police Academy, and they claim the money is for families of murdered police officers. Somerset police say it's tough to know how reputable the agency is and that they are not familiar with it. Police are advising people not to give them money. If you are willing to give money, find a reputable charity. Don't wait on someone to call you. And in Knox County, the grand jury will hear the case of a man accused of stabbing his mother and stepfather. 35-year-old Joe Gibson was riding in a car with Connie Smith and Randy Smith when police say he cut their throats. Both of them were taken to UK Hospital. Gibson has been charged with attempted murder. This morning, his case was waived to the grand jury. They will hear it on August 29th.
New tonight, some Fayette County parents may have noticed some money missing from their accounts lately. Fayette County school leaders say their My Payments Plus software rolled over for the new school year and some balances were zeroed out. Anyone with the automatic pay setup may have noticed a payment. Leaders believe that about $19,000 were taken from 650 parents. The rollover happened on Sunday. School leaders tell us the mistake was fixed on Monday, and all money should have been refunded. We're learning some new information tonight about a lawsuit challenging one of Governor Matt Bevin's latest moves. A judge has ruled that Attorney General Andy Beshear can intervene in a lawsuit against the governor's decision to remove the chairman of the state's Retirement System Board of Trustees. Earlier this year, the governor issued an executive order removing Thomas Elliott as the chairman. Elliott sued, saying the governor does not have the authority to remove him.
We are tracking some steamy, stormy weather for the next couple of days.
And we could see some of our hottest stretch this summer this week. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey's already sweating it out right over there next to us. Right, Chris?
Oh, yeah, indeed. And, you know, we talked last week, guys, that I thought the second half of this week could give us the hottest weather of the summer so far. Not that that's saying a lot because it has not been very hot this summer, but that is going to be the case. But we will still have to fight some storms. Check on the numbers now. Upper 80s to low 90s. One of the few days we've actually cracked 90 degrees so far in Lexington and surrounding areas with a mix of some sun and some clouds out there. We look at your Defender radar network. Most areas dry. Southern Kentucky had some booming thunderstorms a little earlier, and still, boy, we're trying to fire up some action very close to the Tennessee border counties, Whitley County into McCreary County, maybe folks around southern parts of Wayne County. Let's look to the north. That's a cold front on top of the area as of now, and some clouds trying to come in from the northwest where some thunderstorms are developing. That's what I'm going to keep a close eye on over the next few days. The atmosphere is primed to give us some thunderstorms that develop from northwest to southeast, riding around the major heat ridge that is just off to our west. We're going to get on some of that the next few days. Out and about this evening, mainly fair skies, small chance for a southern storm. Temperatures muggy right in through 11 o'clock. The steam, though, is on the way. We've got summer heat and humidity, and then some thunderstorms. Join in on the fun. At this point, guys, why not get some more storms into town? We'll show you how eventually those storms may beat the heat. 7-day forecast in a few.
All right, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. Well, as the temperatures climb this week, doctors across the region are issuing some warnings.
And while many of you want to enjoy the sunshine, of course, spending too much time outside can be dangerous. Our Mike Linden breaks down how to stay safe out in the hot temperatures.
It's another beautiful day in the Bluegrass. Woodland Park in Lexington is packed.
This park has shade though, so it's a little bit more bearable, but it gets really hot for sure.
Usually I'll have a water bottle out with me.
Don't be fooled by the sunshine. Doctors say days like these can quickly become dangerous.
The higher the temperature goes, the more difficulty our body has dissipating the heat that we build up.
Without proper hydration, Dr. Stanton says heat-related illnesses become a big deal.
Well, there's no certain temperature. It all has to do with the person.
It starts with heat cramps, and with more exposure to the sun can lead to heat exhaustion.
That's that next level where you're actually starting to build up that temperature, start to feel very fatigued, very tired, may start to have some confusion, difficulty with fine motor skills.
That's why hydration plays a huge part in keeping yourself and your family safe this summer. Dr. Stanton says when picking a beverage to stay hydrated, you want to be careful what's in that beverage. He says something like caffeine, like what's in soda, or even in iced tea isn't a good choice. He says the best choice is always water. With plenty more of the summer left, Dr. Stanton says keeping yourself safe comes down to common sense.
It's kind of like wearing your seatbelt. It's common sense. It saves lives. It's the same way with the heat. Do the things you need to do to keep you and yourself, your family, your neighbors safe.
In Lexington, Mike Linden, WKYT.
And Dr. Stanton says heat-related illnesses can be deadly, especially heat stroke.
Cocktails are popular again. More people are ordering spirits at the bar, including bourbon, but some distilleries are having trouble making enough of it. New at 5:30, CBS's Don Champion is in the heart of bourbon country.
Kentucky is in the middle of a bourbon boom.
20 years ago, we weren't all that busy, and we certainly are busy today.
So this is where the process starts.
Yes.
Chris Morris is the master distiller at Woodford Reserve, one of many companies experiencing skyrocketing sales.
We're in over 40 different countries now.
The resurgence of cocktails has led to a 315% spike in Kentucky bourbon production since 1999. But the industry is struggling to keep up. Whiskeys need a few years to age, and many distilleries did not anticipate today's demand. The Buffalo Trace Distillery is suffering from a shortage.
We count the number of barrels.
Freddie Johnson says the company's high-end brands like Pappy Van Winkle need 20 years to age.
Bourbons that we're enjoying today were the bourbons made a generation before.
Because of that, there's not enough Pappy to meet the demand. Online liquor stores are now reselling bottles for 10 times the retail value.
We believe that the demand for bourbon is not going away.
And that's why many distilleries are expanding. Buffalo Trace expects to double capacity within the next 8 years, and Woodford Reserve just finished a large expansion project.
There we go. Woo!
That should help quench the global thirst for bourbon. Don Champion, CBS News, Frankfort, Kentucky.
And the bourbon boom has created an economic ripple effect here in the Commonwealth. Tourism is up as more people visit Kentucky's famous Bourbon Trail.
Night 2 of the Republican National Convention has started in Cleveland, and our good question is, who picks the speakers at the convention? In this case, with the nominee all but a done deal, Donald Trump and his campaign made the calls to speakers and lined up who speaks when, with the help of the Republican National Committee. Now, Trump's wife and the star of TV's Duck Dynasty were among the main speakers last night. Trump's lineup tonight is an example of what they have scheduled pretty much all week, a mixture of family speakers, celebrities, and political heavyweights. Tonight's theme is Make America Work Again. And the speakers will include Donald Trump Jr., daughter Tiffany Trump, Dr. Ben Carson, who ran against Trump in the campaign, Kentucky's Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, House Speaker Paul Ryan, and actress Kimberly Brown. To submit a good question, send an email to goodquestion@wkyt.com.
Still ahead on WKYT, Lexington Police, they name a new assistant chief. We'll meet the woman taking on the job.
I'm Bill Bryant. Senator Mitch McConnell is set to address the Republican National Convention tonight as the GOP nominates Donald Trump for president. And former Congressman Ben Chandler gets a new job. The bottom line is ahead.
The second day of the Republican National Convention is underway now, and Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell is expected to speak tonight.
And a former Kentucky congressman is getting a new title. Bill Bryan explains in the bottom line.
Good evening. The second day of the Republican National Convention is now in session, and later this evening, delegates will hear from a Kentuckian, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. McConnell's address is set for around 9 o'clock or so. McConnell has been very candid about his advice to Donald Trump in recent weeks to curtail insults and get on message. Many speculate that he will spend much of his speech on why he hopes Republicans maintain control of the Senate. The featured speaker last night was Melania Trump, who was introduced by her husband. She said Donald Trump would bring change to the country.
My husband offers a new direction, welcoming change, prosperity, and greater cooperation among peoples and nations. Donald intends to represent all the people, not just some of the people.
Now, some Democrats and news reports said parts of Melania Trump's speech were plagiarized from the 2008 address to the Democratic Convention by Michelle Obama. Trump's campaign manager said that accusation is absurd. Kentucky State Senator Ralph Alvarado addresses the Republican convention tomorrow. Former Congressman Ben Chandler is getting a new job. He will soon be in charge of the Foundation for a Healthy Kentucky. Chandler served in Congress from 2004 to 2012. Before that, he was Kentucky Attorney General and State Auditor. He had a hand in creating the foundation, which works to address unmet health care needs in the Commonwealth. Chandler will be taking over in September. The city of Corbin is about to start looking for new leadership for the Corbin Arena after the resignation of Connie Hunt. The Times Tribune reports today Corbin leaders have approved a severance package for Hunt equal to 3 months' pay, which apparently amounts to around $24,000. The CBS Evening News originates again tonight from the GOP convention in Cleveland, and there'll be primetime coverage later this evening. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
A big honor for a Lexington police officer. The department has named a woman to the position of assistant chief.
Melissa Sedlacek is the second woman in the department's history to earn the rank of assistant chief. She tells us she's ready to take on her new role in the department.
I don't know that I came on the police department 26 years ago with this goal in mind. But I did want to get promoted along the way and do different things in the police department, and reaching the rank of assistant chief is just a great opportunity for me.
Sedlacek will also lead the Bureau of Special Operations. She was assigned as the Bureau's commander 6 months ago.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Steaming it up out there today. A lot of upper 80s to low 90s. Most of central and eastern Kentucky. Humidity certainly making it feel even hotter than it is. We warned you a week ago that the second half of this week especially would likely feature the hottest weather so far of the summer, and it is on the way, and it is already out there in a lot of cases. Eastern Kentucky, we're cooler. A lot of mid and upper 80s here. Northern parts of the area, numbers are coming down just a little bit as some slightly cooler and drier air works in. So a heat index, Frankfort, Lexington, feels like it is 96 degrees. Not what the thermometer says, but what your body thinks the actual temperature is. That's still typical for this time of year. Later this week, we could flirt with 100-degree feels like numbers, so we do want to slow it down a little bit. End of the week, the humidity begins to really take off. Tropical feel in the air Thursday and Friday, and because of that, that heat index will really take off during that time. So, can we get some thunderstorms to go along with it? Yes, that's the short answer. Out there this evening, probably not. Thunderstorms a little earlier, southern Kentucky, now into the volunteer state of Tennessee. Well, several warnings down here. What are we going to watch for locally? Well, notice the clouds that are coming at us from northwest to southeast. Those clouds are streaming in ahead of a little thunderstorm complex that is on top of sections of Wisconsin, Iowa, into Illinois and Missouri, and some of those will try to scoot in here over the next few days. Tomorrow you got a chance, a little better shot end of the week, and especially later this weekend and early next week. Pattern's going to change, so the heat's it's building in for a few days, but it is never just going to set in and rule the roost for more than a 3 or 4 or 5 day span. Storms will kind of fight it out early next week, especially. Small storm chance tomorrow. Steamy temperatures that will continue into your Thursday. 90-ish, give or take a few degrees on either side of that. Farther west you go, you're going to be a lot hotter than folks across central and eastern Kentucky. Watch for a storm that can try to temper the temperatures. 90 to 95 coming up on Friday with a couple of storms that will be around during that time. We have to watch that northwestern sky not only this evening for at least a popcorn shower storm, but through the day tomorrow, as again, those temperatures will be 90-ish. Some low 90s will be out there, especially the farther west that we go. But any storm that goes up can keep the numbers down just a little bit where you live. When and where those storms pop, we'll find out on any given day. Right now, Friday's the hottest day in all likelihood of the summer so far at 90 to 95 degrees. It will feel closer to 100 to start the weekend. Then the storms kick in later this week and early next week to knock the temperatures back down.
We will just all sweat it out together.
Think of it. You either got sweat or you got storms.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may get both.
There you go. Chris, thank you.
It has been a busy afternoon with several collisions, including a new one at Dover and Grantchester. Now, that is a non-injury crash just off Russell Cave. Also, police are still clearing one at White Oak and Leestown. There's one at Regency and Southland, and also Boston and Dillon. They're still on the scene of a non-injury collision. Their drive times this afternoon to Nicholasville, about 14 minutes. To Versailles, taking 11, and to Paris, we're averaging 20 minutes on Paris Pike. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Don. Up next, EKU heads into the season with a new coach.
Well, that's right. Mark Elder is now leading the Colonels. The coach and his players have been adjusting, and Mark Stoops spends the day at ESPN answering questions at what's called the car wash. Sports is up next. All of the SEC football coaches heading up to ESPN headquarters either yesterday or today for what is called the car wash. They appear on various platforms throughout the day, and Mark Stoops was up there today. His team has come so close to a bowl the last 2 seasons, 5-7 records. Stoops said 2 years ago it would have been a miracle to make it to a bowl game, but not this past season.
This past year was disappointing because we did have the team to do that. You know, our margin for error is very small. I felt like there was just one game out there. We lost a couple close games. We won a couple close games. And I really felt like there was one opponent where we really outplayed and came out on the short end of the stick. And that can't happen. We don't have that margin for error. We've got to do a better job of putting them in position to be successful and closing out those victories. We need more depth, more strength, more mental maturity within our program. We've worked hard with that this past off season, and we're ready to go this year.
Now, the EKU football team continuing to adjust to a new coach for only the 3rd time in the last 50 years. Mark Elder has been in charge since December. He is stressing an up-tempo style of practice with an intensity level the players say has been a big adjustment. Everything within the program is brand new for everybody.
They're having a whole new set of standards, a whole new set of expectations, really a whole new culture that they have to live up to. And so it's hardest on them, and they've done a tremendous job of adjusting to the changes. And I have to give compliments to those guys on how they've handled that stuff.
He's a high-energy guy, just high energy at practice, high energy at scrimmages, everything. And he's very optimistic going in, and you can tell he's authentic. You can tell he truly cares about the players and everybody on the team. So.
Jamal Murray has signed his NBA contract with Denver. According to the NBA's rookie wage scale, Murray will make $6.6 million his first 2 seasons with the Nuggets. Denver holds the options on years 3 and 4. Murray was the number 7 pick in last month's draft. And a major setback for Jody Meeks, who was just acquired by the Orlando Magic from Detroit. Meeks underwent surgery today on the 5th metatarsal in his right foot. He'll be sidelined indefinitely. His return will depend on how he responds to rehab. Jody broke the bone last year and missed most of last season. He had passed a physical. Coming up in the next half hour, you will meet a Kentucky youngster who can claim the title top female archer in the world. We'll be right back.